Hello and welcome to the Championship Talk podcast. I'm your host Paul O'Toole, and not joining me is my co-host Thomas Falco. He is going to make an appearance with a transfer roundup in due course, but not today, I'm afraid. So we're going to start with the one thing that happened was a lot of games took place, which was really, really pleasing. We had a full weekend's fixtures, nearly a full weekend's fixtures, which was really, really good. Almost back to some sort of normality. But first, we're going to start with Derby. So we're going to start with some news around Derby. MPs have joined the fight to save the club. MPs have called on the government to act, as the English Football League has given Derby until the 1st of February to prove it can fund the rest of the season, or it will be expelled from the league. Administrators say legal cases brought against the club by other clubs are delaying a takeover. There are two preferred bidders that potentially would allow Derby to be taken over. However, due to cases brought against the club involving Middlesbrough and Wycombe Wanderers, both who state that Derby's financial position has affected their league positions in recent seasons, the two preferred bidders, Tama, the administrators for Derby, have said that both preferred bidders are unwilling to put money into the club and buy the club with legal cases sort of circling, which makes sense. You know, you're not going to buy into an unknown proposition. If it's ruled that Derby's financial position has really hampered these clubs in a long-term financial sense, you could be talking millions of pounds in compensation that the new owners would be liable for, not necessarily themselves, but the asset they've just purchased. They've then got that significant outlay on top of all the other challenges that Derby have faced. The MPs will be lobbying the government to ensure that we don't have a similar situation that happened to Bury. And I think any football fan doesn't want to see Derby go out of existence, especially when you look at the drama and the fight they've shown. They're off the bottom with 21 points deducted. Says a lot for Barnsley, but they're off the bottom. And when you look at the fight those players are showing, when you look at the transfers that have happened already, because obviously they need to shed players, and any fees they can get for any players is going to be they're going to bite any other club's hand off for it. So it's an open sale on Derby's players, and yet they still go and get 3 points at the weekend. Spoiler alert. So that just shows that fight that Wayne Rooney has got in that team. And it's going to make a really good end to the season if Derby are allowed to play the remaining fixtures. And again, I say that every member of the Championship has a vested interest in the Championship product. As much as no club wants to be in the Championship, they want to be in the Premier League. They are a member of the Championship, and if the Championship does well, has a better brand, every club benefits in terms of prestige, player acquisition, TV rights, merchandise, sort of metrics that clubs now use: spanner, reach, and control on social media, Facebook. The more times a club's name appears, the better advertising they've got, the better pool they've got for future sponsors. So if the Championship is a better and more prestigious league, it's better. So Derby getting expelled will make this league look like an absolute laughingstock, and it will look like a Mickey Mouse league, which it's not. It's the fourth most supported league in Europe. When you look at attendances, especially over Christmas, they were phenomenal. They were higher than leagues, again, that allow full attendances. There are leagues that have been hit with COVID, but on a good day, you will often get more people attend a Championship game than you will do some of the other top flight leagues that have Champions League places awarded to them. So Derby going out of existence, it'll be a catastrophe. And I think I understand the EFL's. I understand their position, because they need this to come to a head. They need to put some pressure on the administrators, potential buyers. They need this to come to a head. But we could end up with this coming to a situation where almost the EFL's bluff is called, and we end up with no Derby County anymore. And that's not a good space to be in. I don't think anyone would want that. Thomas is a Forest fan. He certainly wouldn't want that. So we will monitor that situation week by week, and as it seems like we've been doing since the summer, which is really quite sad. Also quite sad, Millwall chief executive has come out and urged fans to stop booing players that are taking the knee, and says it's causing extensive damage to Millwall Football Club. Millwall CEO Steve Kavanagh has said that he's lost count with the number of fans who feel they cannot attend Millwall games due to the booing of the knee. Kavanagh adds that employees are very upset and angry and condemn the homophobic abuse of Crystal Palace player Conor Gallagher. And I think that just... I was quite forthright in my views that it does seem to continually focus on Millwall and a percentage of their fan base that clearly have certain views that are unacceptable and feel that going to a football game with a large group and a large audience, that there's the best place to voice those views. We'd like to change those views ideally, but certainly we wouldn't want it, that abuse to be held at football players, anyone. We just don't want that, and they seem to see this football as an outlet to anonymously go and spout their opinions, which are unsavoury. Millwall chief executive has said that he's held various meetings with club interest groups to try and find the root cause and a way forward, but he's urging fans not to boo the taking of the knee by opposing players, as this is doing irrevocable damage to the club and is actually driving fans away. And I think that's the key bit. There are Millwall fans that feel they cannot go to a game because opposing players take the knee and their own fans boo that. And I think that is horrendous. These are Millwall fans. It's basically making going to the den and an unsavoury experience for fans of Millwall, which if that's happening, that's doing damage to the club, that's doing damage to the reputation of the club, that's doing damage to the future of the club, and ultimately the den will become a place where people living in that area feel they can't go to and don't want to go to, and that's very sad and very close-minded. He goes on to say that the community trust feel angry and upset, and feel that the damage being done to the club potentially could be long lasting. They've got their own campaign that's called Think Twice, and that's aimed at eradicating any abuse of any kind. And Millwall have gone above and beyond to try and eliminate the reputation that they've got. Unfortunately, they're having to work so hard because they do have this reputation that's an ongoing problem. It's not something that you can hold Millwall in a grand light and say, look at what they're doing. They're doing some amazing stuff, because they're having to do the amazing stuff because of a proportion of their fan base has and thinks that it's acceptable to yell abuse at fans, players, and it's just not. And it's probably this fourth or fifth time that we've talked directly about Millwall. That is a good club. Me and Thomas, we like Millwall as a club. We like their underdog attitude. We like the everyone hates us attitude. However, it does leave a sour taste in your mouth that whenever we're talking about something like this, it tends to involve Millwall, and that's not becoming pleasant. It's not something that we want to talk about. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and obviously we await the FA's investigation into what happened. We're going to move on, and we're not going to do a transfer rundown, but Thomas will be doing that in due course. Whether it's a video that I splice in somewhere that just appears, or whatever that looks like, or whether we'll actually be able to do a podcast face to face, that might be good too. Or even if it's we're able to do a podcast, a two-way podcast, that would be good. But we are looking at stuff like that. I'm going to go through the fixtures, and we're going to start with the Tuesday night game. Reading 0, Fulham 7. That's quite a heavy hammering for Reading away at home, and Fulham, it's the second time they've scored 7 away from home. Harry Wilson scores after 13 minutes. Mitrovic scores a penalty after 45 minutes. Harry Wilson then gets his second and Fulham's third on 60 minutes. Tate gets a fourth for Fulham on 68 minutes. Naskins Cabano gets a fifth on 70 minutes. Adebayo gets a header on 75 minutes to make it 6-0. And then Mitrovic then scores on 69 minutes. When you look at the stats, it was just all one way. 70% possession to Fulham, 22 shots, 13 on target. Reading were just not at the races, and it is a worrying slide because they would be rooted in that top bottom three if it wasn't for the fact that Derby have had the points deduction. And I know Reading have had their own issues, but 6 points, they would still be in the bottom three, which is quite worrying. Harry Wilson, man of the match, absolute standout. Then we're going to move on to the Coventry game. This was a 12:30 kickoff. Coventry 0, Blackburn 1. Joe Rothwell scores after 14 minutes. He curls this in from just outside the box, low to the keeper's left. Really good goal. Ryan Naembe gets sent off for a second bookable offence on 76 minutes. Cardiff had 66% possession, 11 shots, 3 on target. Blackburn had 4 shots, 2 on target. Blackburn are just a really good team at the moment, and you're going to have to go some to beat them. In terms of men of the match, Darren Lenihan, centre back for Blackburn, was just phenomenal. Other 12:30 kickoff. This one was live on Sky. Luton 3, Bournemouth 2. Lloyd Kelly scores an own goal. The keeper saves it and it just bounces out just so quickly. It just bounces off Lloyd Kelly from a save low to the goalkeeper's left. And then it hits Lloyd Kelly and goes in. Alan Campbell then gets a second for Luton on 42 minutes. Shot from outside the box. It just dips under the goalkeeper. He goes to dive and it just dips under his hands. Nothing Mark Travers could do about that. Emilio Macondes gets a header on 51 minutes. This was a cross from the right from Jack Stacey. Then Bournemouth equalise. Morgan Rogers on 76 minutes. Cut back from the right from Jamal Lowe and then tapped in. And then the crowd go absolutely balmy. There was scenes at Kenilworth Road when Kai Naismith with a great shot from the edge of the box into injury time for the winner. To be honest, you'd probably rather win a game like that than you would 2-0 because the players went bananas. It was just so good. It just looked such a great atmosphere. Kai Naismith, man of the match, I think, for that goal alone. Luton had 15 shots, 7 on target, only 35% possession. Bournemouth had 12 shots, 6 on target. So when you look at those stats, that game was end to end. That game was phenomenal and a really good game to see. Derby 2, Sheffield United 0. Tom Lawrence scores after 69 minutes. Just an amazing solo effort. He runs 40 yards, beats 3 players, great close control, and a low, cool finish to the goalkeeper's far post. Is he going to be here in February? Scores again on 68 minutes. What a goal. Bent into the top corner from the edge of the box. Just, it's all about the power. The powerful run by Eversaley. Another player that, again, you would say, is he going to be there come February with the fire sale that Derby are currently on? Tom Lawrence, man of the match. Eversaley, they had him playing left back, but I actually think he was more central than that. With that drive and run, he definitely was in contention for man of the match as well. Derby had 5 shots, 2 on target, 2 goals. And yeah, this win moved them off the bottom, and you just can't. What a motivating that has got to be. There is rumours that Wayne Rooney could be in line for the Everton job. He would probably want to leave this mess, but he probably wouldn't want to leave Derby in the lurch. Everton comes calling though. It's his boyhood club. It's a difficult one. Does he deserve to be the Everton manager? Yeah, absolutely. There are managers in the Premier League that don't deserve to do. Look at the job he's done. I wrote him off. Thomas wrote him off. We thought it was a joke when he signed. We thought it was a joke when he took over from Koku. We thought it was just a branding thing. He's assembled a great team around him to fill the void of his lack of knowledge. He's got that siege mentality, and people can say, yeah, it's because his back's against the wall. You can get teams motivate, get an extra 10% out of them. They could have just quite easily just gone 21 points. Yeah, we give up. What's the point? We'll just go through the motions and they get battered 4-5-0 every game. That's not the case. They're fighting, and they're fighting with very little resources. Fulham 6, Bristol City 2. Fulham are pretty good. Bristol City had some good moments, but Fulham are pretty good. Simeo scores after 7 minutes. Great run. Beats his man and just drills this low past the goalkeeper. Mitrovic then scores a header on 21 minutes. That equalises it. Semedo then gets one on 29 minutes where he turns on the halfway line and then just leaves his marker for dead. The turn was just audacious. The run was phenomenal. And then the finish that hits the post low to the keeper's right was just absolutely phenomenal. You kind of get the feeling, though, that Bristol City scored them 2 goals way too early because that seemed to wake up Fulham. And then Neeskens Cabano scores a header on 31 minutes. Great header back across goal by Mitrovic. Carvalho scores after 36 minutes. Runs from his own half, then hits a great shot just inside the box to bends it away from the goalkeeper. Mitrovic then scores a header on 41 minutes. Corner from the left that he headers in. Mitrovic then scores again after 45 minutes. He's unmarked, receives the ball, bends his pass to the goalkeeper. That made it 5-2 before half-time. The Neeskens Cabana then makes it 6-2 on 57 minutes with a touch from a drop-in ball, and he just smashes at him. I said it before. Fulham are pretty good. Mitrovic is pretty good. Worth reported £100,000 a week he earns, because if you just keep him, save it, only make. Right, you're on a 5-year contract. You're going to work 3 seasons, and that's going to be all the 3 seasons are in the Championship. Take a holiday for the in between, and then just every year roll him out when you're in the Championship, score the 30 goals, get us back in the Premier League. Uncle Joyce, 100 million. Fulham had 62% possession, 18 shots, 8 on target. Bristol City had 8 shots, 5 on target. Bristol City looked dangerous. They just unfortunately didn't look as dangerous as Fulham. Middlesbrough 2, Reading 1. Andy Carroll scores a header from a good cross from the left. This potentially was his last game for Reading because he was only on a short-term deal, especially after the 2 amazing disallowed goals that he didn't score at the weekend. Oh, midweek, sorry. Matt Crooks scores a header for Millwall on 84 minutes. Chip back in from the edge of the box and he headers this in from 6 yards. And he scores another one from pretty much underneath the bar into injury time. Reading's miserable form just keeps rolling on. Reading had 10 shots, 4 on target to Middlesbrough's 10 shots, 5 on target. Middlesbrough had 62% possession. Millwall 0, Forest 1. Lewis Grabban scores into injury time. Keeper saves this, pushes it right into his path, and he taps it in for 4 yards. He won't get many easier goals unless he's playing against Arsenal every week. Forest were really good in this game in terms of attacking play. 24 shots, 7 on target. 50-50 possession. Millwall had 13 shots, 5 on target, but Forest just looked too compact for it to ever concede. Huddersfield 1, Swansea 1. Sineni scores after 15 minutes to make it 1-0 to Huddersfield. This was a tap-in from a parry from the goalkeeper. Then Flynn Downsend scores after 78 minutes and equalises for Swansea. When you look at possession, Swansea had 70% possession, 18 shots, 11 on target. Huddersfield had 11 shots, 8 on target. So fairly open game for the score. Peterborough 1, Coventry 4. Gustavo Hamer scores after 15 minutes. Great shot from 30 yards. Goalkeeper gets both hands to it. He would be really disappointed because Cornell... Thomas always said to me, when you get a hand to it, you feel you should save it. If you get 2 hands for it, you definitely should save it. And he gets both hands on that and that still goes in. Matt Godden scores a second for Coventry on 75 minutes. This is poor play that leads from a shot from 25 yards that just goes through the goalkeeper. It just goes through him like he's not even there. He's hit with power, but he should save that. George Grant then scores on 37 minutes to get one back for Peterborough. Good shimmy, and then he hits his top corner with his left foot. Nathan Thompson then scores an own goal to make it 3-1 to Coventry. On 81 minutes, sort of poked in from across from the right, so he's just sliding, he just gets a toe on it and diverts it past his own goalkeeper. Matt Godden then scores into injury time. This is a counter-attack. Peterborough had thrown everything at it, and they cut it in from the right, and it's ultimately a tap-in. Coventry have been really impressive this season, though anyone that sees the league table knows why. 22 shots, 9 on target to Coventry. 9 shots, 4 on target to Peterborough. Preston 1, Birmingham 1. Patrick Bauer scores after 31 minutes. Corner from the left. Brown shoots and hits his own player, Bauer, and goes in. So Bauer gets that even though it was a Brown shot. Scott Hogan then scores on 86 minutes, stooping from the right. Pretty much smashes his face against the floor to header this one in. 50-50 possession. 16 shots apiece. 5 for on target for Preston. 3 for Birmingham. All being told points shared, probably a fair result. Then shock of the week, QPR 1, West Brom 0. Though those of you that watched West Brom recently probably wouldn't say this is much of a shock. Charlie Austin scores after 89 minutes. Great cross from Willock, and then Austin's there to head it in at the far post. When you look at possession, QPR had more possession. They'd only had 9 shots, 4 on target, to West Brom's 12 shots, 2 on target. Vanham and Ishmael. West Brom have been very brutal with managers in the past, and he needs to get some results quickly. That's all I'll say. Hull 0, Stoke 2. This was first of the Sunday games. Jacob Brown scores a header on 22 minutes. Then Tommins scores on 50 minutes, set up by Sam Clucas. DiMaggio Wright Phillips was also played for. I can't remember what's that. Also played for Stoke, alongside Tom Ince, the grandson of Ian Wright and son of Sean Wright Phillips. So really kind of footballing bloodline, and obviously Tom Ince, son of Paul Ince. So lots of football history playing for Stoke. Where that leaves the Championship, and again we're getting to that stage of some teams have played 23 games, some have played 26. So Fulham are top, played 25, 51 points. Bournemouth are second, played 26, 49 points. Blackburn Rovers played 26, 49 points. QPR, fourth, played 25, 44 points. They went above West Brom, who've played 26, are on 42 points. Also on 42 points are Middlesbrough in sixth. They both played 26 games. Huddersfield are in seventh. They've played 27 games and they're on 41 points. Stoke are 8th on 38 points. I'm going to move all the way down to the bottom of the table. Barnsley, 24th. Played 24 games, 14 points. Derby, played 26 games, 14 points, 21 point deduction. That is just crazy. Peterborough, 24 games played, 19 points. Reading, 25 games played, 22 points. Cardiff, 25 games played, 23 points. Hull, 25 games played, 23 points. And then you've got a big 5-point gap to Birmingham, 25 games played, 28 points. So really, really big gap. Games this week. So Tuesday the 18th, and these are the games that are currently not postponed, but do check if you are due to go, because as we know, these games can be called off at an hour's notice. Tuesday the 18th, Fulham host Birmingham, live on Sky Sports Football. Preston host Sheffield United, live on Sky Sports Football. Both red button if you want to watch one or the other. Wednesday the 19th, Hull host Birmingham. Oh, no, they don't. There's Blackburn Rovers, live on Sky Sports Football. Reading host Luton. That one doesn't say it was on Sky Sports Football, but no one's going to watch that anyway. Saturday the 22nd, Bristol City host Cardiff. That's behind the red button. Nottingham Forest host Derby. Could be the last Brian Clough derby, which is worrying and scary. That is live on Sky Sports Football. Then you've got the 3 o'clock games. Birmingham host Barnsley. Blackpool host Millwall. Bournemouth host Hull. Coventry host Queen's Park Rangers. Reading are at home to Huddersfield. Sheffield United are at home to Luton. Stoke are at home to Fulham. Swansea are at home to Preston North End. And West Brom are at home to Peterborough. And then on the Monday night, we've got Blackburn host Middlesbrough. That is live on Sky Sports Football. So, thank you all for listening. As always, hit subscribe, hit us a 5-star review. If you want to support the podcast, that really helps other people to listen. We will be back next week. Hopefully with a mid-transfer roundup, if I can now Thomas to a microphone and a recording device. If not, it will do one at the end. He's been engrossed in the Africa Cup of Nations, and that has just been providing him with a lot of football to watch. So that's goodbye from me, and I shall speak to you all next week. Enjoy the football. Bye, everyone.